and it is playing on me now.
It's playing on you.
At the time, it was so good.
Amazing.
That's the problem with a kebab, isn't it? At the time, it's just brilliant, and then afterwards, you just hate yourself.
Kebabs are lovely, aren't they?
Yeah.
And then you do despise yourself afterwards.
Next day.
The next day.
But it was. But anyway, so that's lovely stuff, isn't it, for people?
Last night, I can't even remember what I ate last night. Not much, I don't think.
Interesting.
Oh, I had a cold McDonald's. Because we had the service thing going on, didn't we?
Yeah, we had our
I had to get something. So they ordered McDonald's and it came and it was freezing. So I had to eat a cold McDonald's. Have you ever had one of them? I don't know why they always get things wrong, McDonald's, in their orders as well. It's like the worst delivery service ever. But we keep going back.
You do. You have a breakfast, and we won't get into that today. But anyway, McDonald's breakfast is horrible. But you keep going back.
It's just there, isn't it? Yeah, it's just easy. It's my lifestyle, lad.
Well, today,
today.
We're doing another pre-record because we've done one already and we worked the technology out. It was a miracle. It happened. It was fairly smooth. It was good. And so we thought we'd do another one. Yeah. So where we're getting some guests.
And we get some top guests that way, don't we? Because they don't have to come all the way here. So it's easier for us.
They're not willing to drive to the northwest in Liverpool, especially when we're not paying them. We're not giving them any money for petrol. It's a long way to come,
what you'd expect, to be fair. So it is meaning we get some top guests doing these.
Some fantastic
I'm excited by these.
And we've got another great guest today.
We have. Yeah. We've got Steve Legg with us today. Let's welcome Steve.
Let's welcome Steve. Great to have you with us, mate. Thank you so much for being willing to do this. Great to have you.
Listen, I'm very intrigued by your kebab because,
go on.
I think kebabs are pretty healthy generally. If you have a chicken kebab, that's a chicken salad, isn't it?
It is. It is if you have a chicken one. I also had the one that
you have a doner.
Yeah, the
elephant leg,
and
the other bit on it.
They are good, aren't they?
So it's just a pure.
I don't think you understand up here because I think this is a north-south divide thing again.
Go on.
Our chippies, their portions are massive.
Yeah, it's a game changer up north.
Honestly, you would be surprised, Steve, how big the portions you get in our chippies up here. They're just huge.
The other thing, which is a game changer, Steve, because this didn't happen down south, is up north, when you order a Chinese meal or whatever, down south you have to pay extra for rice, whereas up in the north, that's a freebie. That's a given.
You're kidding me?
That's in the price. So you get chips or rice as an added. And you wouldn't, it's a game changer living up north, Steve.
And it's massive, isn't it? It is. It's colder, though.
You know what?
Steve.
I went to the Pit Stop Cafe in Bangor, Northern Ireland. I go over there lots, and they always take me to this real greasy spoon. And I thought, I'll have something healthy. I'll have a jacket potato.
Wow.
And they gave me chips on the side. Can you believe it?
That's amazing.
I did not believe it. I'll tell you what, boys, I was up your way. I was in West Kirby the other week.
You were pretty close. You could have called into Finnegan's.
Yeah, West Kirby, URC. What a great place.
Nice. It's posh, West Kirby.
Yeah.
Posh.
It was very nice.
Yeah, it's posh,
places
West Kirby. Yeah, posher
Lovely.
than Netherton, isn't it?
It is a bit posher.
There you go. But Netherton's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've been anyway. Let's just introduce you a little bit.
I stayed at your house.
You stayed at my house, yeah. You stayed at my house, yeah. But
years ago.
Yeah, Steve is he's very involved in lots of things, which we'll get into today. He's where I first met him, I think, was CVM. I would probably guess at Steve. Or maybe it was.
I think I came to you first.
Yeah, you might have came to my house.
I've got you on doing a spot because I love you out and I think you're very funny.
Well, I
always have.
I don't think I'm funny anymore. I've gone into that kind of I'm rubbish at everything again.
Really?
But honestly, don't start. Have
you lost your confidence?
I just don't think I'm funny. Yeah, anyway.
Neither did 2,000 lads at CVM, sadly.
No, it's a tough audience. It really is.
Especially in the middle of Elvis.
They are a tough crowd.
Oh no, the gig you had me do was in the bar area, wasn't it? So people were passing through, but there was people listening to that one. It was the other one, the Elvis one. Yeah, they were listening. No, we had you up, didn't we, for our Christmas kind of church?
That was brilliant.
Lunch. It was one of your first
years. I think it was in
years.
a hotel or something.
Yeah,
Park Hotel up the road. Yeah. We had you there, and Tom done the seating arranging and put the table.
Don't get into that.
I'm not going to get into it. But the heckling table right in front of you. Yes. That's what he done. He put the heckling table right in front of you, and I was thinking, what are you doing that for?
Yeah.
It wasn't you, actually. It was Ian who done the table.
I was going to
plan.
say,
Yeah, but I just
But
like
it
blaming
was
you.
Steve,
It went okay, didn't it?
Yeah,
you
it
did
was
a
sound.
fantastic
That was
job,
absolutely
Steve.
fab,
It was
fab.
hilarious.
I literally remember one of your jokes when you said to someone, "Oh, are you such and such?" It was a woman, and you went, "I'd ask you how old you is, but that's pretty rude. So, how heavy are you?"
Yes, pretty close. It's very rude to ask a woman her age.
Yeah.
So that gets a laugh.
Yeah.
And the tag is, so how much do you weigh?
Yeah.
So,
Pretty funny, that.
It's a good line.
It's a pretty
That is a
funny
good
gag,
line.
that. Yeah, cause murder. But
Very
anyway,
good.
yeah, so we've got Steve on. As I said, I've seen him at CVM. He's a comedy magician.
You
with
got
that
there
best.
in the end. Just before we started, I said to Al, you do the introduction for Steve.
I'm doing it.
I know, go on.
Shut
You're
up.
taking
Well,
your
we're
time.
wittering on and we're chit-chatting,
That's
aren't
all
we?
right.
This
That's
is the way
fine,
you do
Steve.
these
It's
things.
just we're doing an hour, and he won't have actually told anyone who you are or what you do.
You got one of your mates on from South South, have you? I think you're old Billy.
That's it, Steve. Give me some backup.
Anyway, it probably lives down by you. I don't know where he lives.
Where are you from, Steve? What's
Well,
your...
I'm in Littlehampton. We know it as LA.
Littlehampton.
Oh, Littlehampton. That's like Mecca for Christians, isn't it? In the UK, I think there's loads
Well,
of.
it has been. Where are you then, Tom?
Oh, I was in Hampshire before I moved up
Whereabouts?
here. Not far from Aldershot, Farnham Way. Do you know that
Oh,
neck
yeah,
of the
no,
woods?
Farnham. You were in Farnham, were you?
Borden. That's the rougher bit. People think I'm posh here, but Borden was rough as
Yeah,
toast.
but Borden's probably
No,
posh
Borden.
for
I've
you.
gigged there.
Have you? What did you
Do you know
in
what? I've been on the road 35 years now,
Wow.
man and boy, and I've been everywhere once.
A bit like myself.
I was in Nottingham yesterday, and
Nice.
that was a return. So, but that took
Wow.
10 years to get back there.
Had they forgotten your set by then? Because you do the same stuff.
So Steve Legg is a comedy magician. I'm
Yeah.
still trying to get
Great.
there, but you
Good.
keep interrupting.
Continue.
You know, I've known most from CVM, don't we? And the magazine
Men's
that you
Festival,
do.
CVM.
Men's Festival is CVM. Sorry, yeah. I'm not explaining it, am I?
Go on, keep going.
Christian Vision for Men. It's the gathering. It's one of the best. It's got to be the best men's
Fabulous.
festival, hasn't
It's
it?
top. It's
Because
really
it's
good.
like,
Do you know what? I've done so many over the years.
yeah.
I used to do a thing in Ireland that at its heyday was about 4,500 people at the Odyssey in Belfast called Mandate. That was a really unfortunate name. So if you
gonna say.
Googled it, you've got all sorts of websites coming up. And that was amazing at the Odyssey gig in there.
Yeah,
That
they
is a-
defo didn't think that name through,
That's a
did
proper
they?
Christian
They did
name, in
not,
it, where
yeah,
they just
they did
don't
not think that
realise
through.
they're so naive to the world. It's mandate.
Yeah. Not helpful. Don't go there. And search
Yeah. So we've got Steve on today, and we're looking forward to having a chat with you, getting to know you a bit more. So first of all, Steve, tell us a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself to our listeners, please.
Okay, so I'm Steve. I'm 55 now.
Very good.
So
Leave
am
me a
I.
little pause there. You meant to say you don't look it. Thank you.
I'm just.
And I would
Alan's the
probably
same
describe
age.
myself.
I'm the same age as you, but
Oh, yeah.
I look older than you.
I was going to say people are going to be doing that
This is the
comparison now.
North South divide again.
You've had a hard life.
Yeah.
Yes, you've had a hard life up north.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
I would probably kind of describe myself as a creative communicator. I do all sorts of communication. I do comedy magic as a job. As I said, this year, 35 years on the road doing that, traveling around. I write books. I run a men's magazine. Have a little radio show as well. So kind of all sorts of things like that.
Incredible.
That is me. I've got 5 beautiful daughters. We're a blended family.
Wow.
I was married with 3 little ones. My missus went off with someone else. So I was on my own for 5 years with my girls.
Wow.
Met Becca 15 or so years ago. So it's our 15th anniversary in 2023. She's got 2 girls. So it's me and 6 women.
6
or
women.
has
Wow.
been. And even the dog's female.
Yeah, man. I feel a little bit of your pain. It was me with 3 women, and the dog was female as well. You know.
That's another level.
Well,
isn't it?
it is another level. You know.
Surrounded.
I mean, at least
It's
you've
quite
got a
something.
boy.
How many bathrooms you got though, Al?
We used to have just the one.
Oh,
now
you're kidding.
now we've got 2.
7.
But they've all moved out now. So we're rattling down this house with no, we have a bathroom each. In fact, we've got a downstairs loo as well. We can take our pick. It's
Fabulous.
great. It's great. But yeah, when we had everyone living here, it was a bit tight for their bathroom space. You had to get in quick, otherwise you were done. You couldn't do it.
We're in a new build, so we got a downstairs toilet and then 4 bathrooms, believe it or not.
Fabulous.
Wow.
So it's great.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
But it is it's tough with all women, because I don't know what it was like in yours. Your kids are probably angels, I don't know, but mine, they just fight over clothes, fight over makeup, screaming at each other in decibels that only dolphins can understand. Like, it's just noisy. They're always arguing over something, you know. One of them literally got a lock and put it on their door and like locked it with a padlock so the other one couldn't rob her clothes.
And of course, you are dad's taxis, aren't you? 24/7, 7 days a week.
Yeah. So I'm glad they've moved out now, Steve. I don't know how close you are to that, but I'm glad.
Do you know what? They've all gone, and we're loving it.
Yeah,
wow.
I'm loving it. You
know, we actually lost our last three. I want to say lost. Not dead.
What have you done with them?
On the same weekend, and it was
that's traumatizing.
I had my sunglasses on all weekend. I was an emotional wreck. But we came back and we thought this is actually quite nice because we were a blended family. We never really had time, just the two of us.
Yeah.
So it's like
yeah.
Newlyweds almost.
Do you still have things to say to each other though?
Well, don't you just live in different parts of the house? That's what we do. We've just got our own tellies now.
Isn't that?
It's not that bad. I'm only messing. So, you've said you've been on the road for 35 years. How did you get into being a comedy magician? How did that happen? What, you know?
Well, I tell you what, I used to love watching Paul Daniels as a kid.
Okay.
On a Saturday night, back in the day, Al, we only had 3 channels, didn't we? I remember when Channel 4 started.
I do, yeah.
82, was it? With Countdown. But we had 3 channels, and Paul Daniels' Magic Show was on every Saturday night. BBC One probably had 13, 14 million viewers.
You're going to like this.
I saw him make an elephant disappear one night.
Wow.
And I thought, this is amazing. And one drizzly, rainy Saturday, I went to Bournemouth Library, because I come from Bournemouth originally, picked up a book on magic, was really hooked from that moment on, and used to do tricks for the family and friends. I left school at 16 because none of our mates, none of our friends went to uni. We all started work. I worked for Barclays Bank and was still doing magic and bits and pieces. Became a Christian along the way. And at the age of 21, I went full time on the road talking about faith and doing comedy and magic as sort of a visual parable.
Wow.
So how did you become a Christian then, Steve? How did that you kind of snuck that in there, but that's a pretty life-changing moment. Do
you know what, it really was for me? I was at school in Bournemouth and I saw a poster for the Boys Brigade that was starting just round the corner from me.
Wow.
I kind of looked into it a little bit and I thought, you got to go to church on Sunday. And
was that part of the deal with the Boys Brigade?
Yeah, it was.
It was, yeah.
Wow.
I ended up sort of Boys Brigade church. I remember talking about how I came to faith once. And I'm mid doing it in like one of them after dinner things, speaking things. I'm mid telling me story about when I was 16, blah, blah, blah. And I just suddenly dropped into my head. No, that's not true. And because I'm dyslexic, I just say things out loud randomly, right? And I went, no, I'm actually lying, which is always good when you're telling a testimony, isn't it? You know what I mean? I'm actually lying. I was a lot younger than that. It was Boys Brigade, and I remember going forward in this meeting. So
Boys Brigade. You'd go and is it a bit like Scouts? Boys Brigade.
It's just like Scouts, but it's attached to a church. So you have to go. So it started, a guy called William Smith in 1883 started it. Wow. So it's the oldest uniformed youth organisation in the world.
Great.
I like the pointy hat.
They've not got a pointy hat.
They did have a pointy hat back in the day.
Just like Thunderbirds. Rescue.
Yeah,
Thunderbirds.
Wow, that's
I wanted to be a Thunderbird. That's what
that was the thing back in the day.
You had a white sash as well, didn't you?
Yeah, haversack. Yeah. Haversack and belt and everything.
Wow.
I've got someone on whose knows my
This feels like
life.
I'm slightly worried
you're young fellas.
Slightly worried you're both going to start to say sort of racist things that you don't realise. And I'm going to have to censor you a little bit.
But that's why it's a pre-record, isn't it?
That's it, just in case. That we do that at Manual, where you get people along to something fun, but then you surprise them and say you've got to come to church as well. Like it's like how we do evangelism, isn't it?
Boys Brigade was a lot more in your face with that. It was,
totally in your face.
You had to do it. You had to go to church at least so many times a month. Or you couldn't go on the holidays and stuff like that. And,
sneaky. Yeah. Very good.
But they used to get little badges. Sorry.
Go on, Steve.
Yeah, we did badges and drill and all this sort of stuff. So I heard this and I thought, flipping it. But it was really boring church.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt sorry for God having to be there. Omnipresence has its drawbacks sometimes, doesn't it? But on the plus side, there was a girls' brigade and we played football on a Saturday. So those two things outweighed the boredom of 11 o'clock every Sunday. And it was a bore fest. It really was.
Wow.
But we went on a summer camp and they got this vicar in. who believed in God and communicated in an amazing way and talked about being friends with God, having all those things in your past forgiven and forgotten and starting afresh.
Wow.
I thought this is either the biggest load of beep I've ever heard, or it's true. And if it's true, I need to do something about it. And we were given a little booklet called Journey into Life, and we read it, and I must have read it 100 times. And we had an amazing week, long, hot, sunny days, playing football till dusk and the smell of chemical toilets. It was absolute bliss. I did decide, I thought, I've got nothing to lose here. If this is rubbish, you know, I've not lost anything. But if this is true, this Christian message about being friends with God, then I'll start the most amazing adventure.
Yeah.
And I remember vividly, you know, going home in the coach. We'd all got sunstroke and none of us had washed or changed our pants all week. But I remember dumping the suitcase in the kitchen, running up to my bedroom, getting on my knees. And there was a little prayer in the back talking about saying sorry and all this sort of stuff, asking God to take over your life. And I did it. And, you know, from that moment on, I became a Christian. And it said, tell someone within 24 hours. So I told my dad, who clipped me around the ear and swore at me.
Sounds like my dad.
Yeah.
So I guess I was destined to tell people about God from that moment on. But
Wow.
I kind of I discovered something so amazing. It changed my life. And Christians use this word gospel, but gospel means good news.
Yeah.
And good news is for sharing. And I thought, well, I'm going to tell as many people in as many possible ways from that moment on. And I carried on working for Barclays Bank from 16 to 21. And from the age of 21, been on the road in a full-time capacity.
Wow.
Sharing my faith because it's brilliant and it's flipping brilliant, amazing, good news.
Wow. So you were 16 when you became a Christian, is that right?
No, I was
Steve?
probably about 12 or 13, but I started work at 16, worked for Barclays Bank because I didn't know what to do. And we're sharing my faith with all my mates, and we go out to pubs and clubs and, you know, telling people about Jesus, but being one of the boys as well.
What had you done at 13 that you needed all that forgiveness from your past? What were you, Steve? I'm only messing.
That's another podcast.
I know what you mean.
I love that thing as well, where they tell you become a Christian and then it's like, tell someone within 24 hours just in case you back out afterwards.
In case you've got that disclaimer you get when you buy something from the shop. You've got 30 days to return this.
A mate of mine said that when he came to faith in his teenage years, he told his dad, and it was a bit like a dirty secret, you know, in the sense that his dad would have been much happier if he'd been like going out clubbing, getting wasted every week, and telling his dad that he'd become a Christian was like, "Wow, what are you doing?"
Absolute same for me.
Was it?
He probably felt let down.
I think mine did.
Really?
Yeah. What a weirdo.
I think he thought it was a phase that I was going through, and I'd grow out of it, or something, or I'd get out of it. You know what I mean? Never have up to now. No. Tried a few times, but
can't
never
give it
quite
up,
made
like
it.
A bad habit.
Yeah. So one of the things we said earlier was that you started a magazine, a men's magazine. Tell us why you did that and how that came about. I know a bit of the story already, but and the kinds of. I'll ask you a bit more. Tell us why you did it and how it came about.
Do you know, it was a conversation in the school playground. I was chatting to my accountant, and I always have to explain, we both had kids at the school. We didn't just meet there to discuss my tax or anything like that. And we was just stood there, and he was telling me about his 10-year-old son's mates bringing lads mags into the playground, things like Nuts and Loaded and FHM, and laughing at these, you know, this inappropriate stuff, girls in skimpy bikinis and really unhelpful articles. And he was saying, wouldn't it be great if someone started something that was good and wholesome for blokes, that could go all over the world, that could be available in newsagents, that could be sent into prisons and to people in the armed forces? He said, that would be amazing, wouldn't it, if someone started something like that?
Yeah.
And it was one of those moments, and it probably sounds a bit weird, but I felt God nudged me a little bit and said, you know, why don't you do that? And I thought, well, what do I know? I got an O-level in English, which I did a year earlier when I was at school. So I had an O-level when I was 14. But I thought, well, what do I know? And I thought, I'll give it a go. And I've always believed finance follows faith. It's one of those things. It's quite profound, really. And it's easy to say it, but finance does follow faith. And if it's right, the money comes in when you step out in faith. So I sort of stepped out in faith, and I knew this young guy called Bear Grylls, who wasn't as famous as he is now. And he said, I'd love to be involved. And we interviewed Kaka, the Brazilian footballer, so he was on the cover.
This is the first episode of it. You interviewed Kaka.
The first one ever,
magazine.
15 years
How
ago.
How did you even get in touch with Kaka?
That's it.
Do you know what? It was quite amazing. Our first gift was a gift from Jose Mourinho, who sent us £50 because he'd heard about this magazine starting that was good.
How does that happen?
This is incredible.
It sounds like, Steve, if I didn't know you were telling the truth, I didn't think you were lying. Jose Mourinho gave you £50.
The special one gave you 50 quid.
Special one, because he thought, I like this. I like the sound of this.
50 quid's a bit tight, though. You could have done
I know a lot of people. It's about black books, isn't it? And knowing people. And, we just told people. And we've celebrated 15 years.
It's called Sorted, the magazine. Why did you come up with that name?
I wanted something that was a little bit different, that was totally non-religious. I didn't want to call it Jesus is Lord, because no one's going to
no one will read that now.
And I thought, sorted, I kind of like it. So you want to get sorted. None of us are sorted. Some people think they're sorted. We're not sorted. Knowing Jesus makes us a little bit more sorted. So it works. It's non-religious. I couldn't find anything else that had been called sorted.
No.
Perfect.
Fab. Yeah.
So number one, magazine one was Kaka. Mourinho was paying for it. Bear Grylls, your mate, just to have a little chat. I mean,
it must be hard having a mate called Bear Grylls, mustn't it?
Wow.
I mean, you never go on holiday with him, do you? Because you end up drinking your own urine and that.
Oh,
that's
man.
just not fun. That's not fun. He'd be good in a rugby party, wouldn't he, or something like that, Bear Grylls?
I slept with my own urine as a hot water bottle once. I did a Kilimanjaro mountain climb, and it was so cold at night, and so I was so desperate for a wee. They have tigers that were maybe not tigers, but lions and things in Africa strolling around at night. So I weed in a bottle and used it as a hot water bottle. But that's another story. Enjoy your lunch.
I had quite a life, Steve.
I know. I mean, I sleep with my own urine. It's just that I can't be bothered getting up in the morning.
Very warm, actually. I don't fancy drinking it.
And so, I mean, I just had a little look at some of the various different people who have been interviewed for Sorted, and it's like A-list celebs, like crazy, that you wouldn't really think might be able to would be interested in. But obviously, you've got everyone in your mobile phone. But
how do you get them? You know, it's a question, because I mean, this is our little daft podcast. No one watches this, Steve. You're all right. You know, it's fine. Right? But
say what you like.
How do you get anyone to come on? Because we've been trying to get people to come on, and there's only you. I'm only messing. No. How do you get some of them A-list celebrities to come on?
But it's one of those things, as you grow, people come to you. Wow. I mean, with the magazine, we either know people. So people like Bear Grylls, we know. We've done stuff with Mark Wahlberg face to face. We have other journalists who write in saying that I'm with. So for example, here we go. So there is a Martin Sheen cover.
Do you know what? Martin Sheen, I'm a big West Wing fan. He's like a hero for me.
I tell you, it's a great feature. And he talks about why he throws his jacket on the way he does.
Oh,
when he stands up and he throws his jacket on. When he was a baby, he got stuck and they had to break his collarbone to get him out. So he's had a weakness in his collarbone. I digress. One of our guys spent a weekend with Martin Sheen, one of our journalists. So,
wow.
So you have freelance journalists that meet these people as well.
We have people all over the world. So, and there's networks. So I might write in, to the database saying, look, I want a one-on-one with Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
Someone will say, okay, I'm with Denzel next week and ask these questions. So
my
either we
just
know
blew
people come to us, or we go on the database. But, as you grow, people come to us. So I do this little radio show on Connect Radio. So I've had John Oates from Hall & Oates.
Oh, wow.
He was promoting something. We got Sagala on it. Matt Goss was back in the UK promoting his new album. And you get a phone call saying, do you want to chat to Matt Goss for 20 minutes?
I don't get them phone calls.
Although, to be fair, Britain's Got Talent and all that. You need to use some of that.
Britain's Got Talent.
Use some of that pulling power.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah.
If you'd done a bit better, if you'd won it, you might have been on the front cover of Sorted.
You never know,
You must have Ant and Deck's numbers, haven't you, Al?
No. Yeah. You don't even know who I am, Steve. Yeah. I don't know who I am. Never mind.
For you. They loved you.
They did.
So
Steve...
hang on. My head's blowing up about this magazine.
Go on.
I'm just...
It's a good mag.
I know. I subscribe to it, Steve. So, but you. I can't get my head around that you started it with no money.
I started it with no money. I found out it was going to cost
50 quid off.
$5,000.
$5,000 for the first.
$5,000 for the first one. I stepped out in faith. Finance follows faith. I tell people.
So what do you mean you stepped out in faith, Steve? Like for people,
some of the people who are listening.
I commissioned it.
You just went
said,
for
okay,
it.
this is what we're doing. I found a designer and I thought, I really believe this money is going to come in for this.
And because you had that feeling of like God was nudging you to do it, and it was in it, so let's go. And that, I mean, just chatting to you for 10 minutes, Steve, I can almost tell that that's kind of how you've lived your life in Kilimanjaro and doing. And what an adventure!
This is the way to roll.
What an adventure! People think Christianity is boring.
I know.
There are a lot of boring Christians, but I don't think Christianity is boring. But I think that's what. It's an adventure,
That's
isn't it?
an adventure.
That's an adventure.
That's
is attractive.
An adventure, Steve.
And I would add this, fellas.
Yeah, go on.
3 weeks after the first one came out, my pal Martin phoned me up. He said, I want to send you 5K. Will that be of any use?
Wow.
Brilliant. So,
wow. I'd be back onto Jose at that point and say, oi,
Jose,
50 quid.
50 quid's being paled into insignificance.
Yeah. Incredible. Wow. So, Steve, in terms of, you've had all these different people you've interviewed, and I just wonder who would be the top. Has there been a particular interview that stands out, or something that someone said, or something like that you particularly felt has struck you? I know that's a broad question, but I'm asking it, and now I'm stalling to try and give you some time to think of something.
Yeah, it's so hard because they're all brilliant, and every new edition, I think this is my favourite, and it's got better and better.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah,
Bear Grylls has been brilliant throughout. One of the ones I loved, we had The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, on the cover.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And Bear was on Instagram.
Yeah,
I just need that emoji.
Messaging The Rock.
Wow.
Sorry.
And he was messaging The Rock saying it's great to share a cover on Sorted magazine. One day we're going to share an adventure, and The Rock was talking about it, and little me, Sorted, was tagged in, and that probably reached 300 million people through their reach.
Incredible.
So that was phenomenal. The two of them talking about this little Christian magazine.
Love it.
That comes out at Littlehampton.
Fantastic.
Wow.
Good stuff.
I mean, yeah, and you can get Sorted. How do they get it if people are watching and they want to get a copy of that, Steve?
It's always best for us if you come to us direct, sortedmag.com. You can order a subscription, £36 a year, comes in the post every 2 months. You can get them in WH Smith's. That's never happened with a Christian magazine. We send thousands to the armed forces, lots into prisons. One of my favourite Sorted stories, we used to send 80 copies into Belmarsh prison, a Category A prison just outside London. And the chaplain wrote to me saying, please send more. Scuffles are breaking out when the magazine's arriving.
Wow.
And I thought, isn't this brilliant? They're fighting over a Christian magazine, these hardened criminals. I thought,
wow.
Living brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant. You've also had adverts in Wolves Stadium, haven't you?
We've done quirky
behind the goal
stuff over the years. We never really got much money, so we do swapsies. So we've had ads at Wolves, Crystal Palace, which... it's tough for me as a Brighton fan, but there was an opportunity there.
Why is that a thing? Crystal Palace, Brighton. Why is that a thing?
Well, it's local. You see, it's locality. It's the most local.
It's the nearest one.
Football team.
Okay. Sorry. Carry on. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Even though completely different counties, so people think, "Oh, that's crazy."
Derby,
So kind of all those sort of things. We've had 2 pilots become Christians who've written to me because people have taken a copy onto a plane, read it, and left it there.
Wow.
That's amazing. The beauty of a magazine. I mean, it would save me a fortune if we were just digital.
Online,
and we are digital, but people don't share digital magazines.
No.
So we say to our 4,000 subscribers, once you've read your copy, leave it in a coffee shop, leave it at doctors, dentists, barbers, trains, planes, leave them anywhere, but someone will pick it up. I mean, I love books. I've written, I think, probably about 17 over the years, but you've really got to be into a book to pick up a book and read it. But there's something about a magazine. There'll be something on cover that will intrigue people. This is why we always have big stars on the cover. I've had various Christian, well-known Christian speakers have begged to be on the cover, and we're just not going to do it because people don't know them as well as they do a Denzel Washington or Bear Grylls or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, I mean, it is an adventure,
amazing.
But it hasn't all been roses for you, has it? There is this adventure, and you'd say this adventure of faith, stepping out in faith, and then and all them kinds of giant leaps, for what some people would consider. But it hasn't all been, because again, I know a bit about your story because we share something in common. We were both diagnosed with cancer about the same time. So tell us a little bit about that, Steve.
Yeah, it was just over a year ago. My wife noticed a little mark on the underside of my foot. Didn't hurt anything. I thought it was a little blood blister because I walked my dog a lot along the Littlehampton seafront. And I kind of left it. And then I realised I could take a photo and send it to my quack. So sent her a photo to the GP who said, come in. She had a look. She said, look, I'm not sure. I'll send you to a dermatologist. I thought, well, what on earth am I going to a dermatologist? I've got lovely skin. I haven't got any spots or anything. So I went and saw this Greek guy in Worthing, and we were getting on so well and having such a laugh. I even showed him a trick, and he looked at it and he said, "Oh, I'm not sure. Probably best if we do a biopsy." And he said, "I'll have to refer you." And he said, "It's really silly, but you'll have to come back and see me in a fortnight." And I said, "Well, can't you do it now?" And he said, "Go on then." So he warned me, because it was on the underside of my foot. He warned me. He said, I'm warning you, the anaesthetic, this injection is really going to hurt. He said, it's the most sensitive part of your body, the underside of your foot. And he was telling me how people get tortured there. And I thought, this isn't really helping, Doc. And he said, this is going to hurt. And I was lying there being very brave. And I said, this is incredible. Can't feel a thing. He said, I've not started yet. And then he injected me, and I'm really ticklish anyway. I almost kicked him in the face. It was
agony.
And he took this biopsy. I went home. I thought that was it. 2 weeks later, I was watching The Chase. I'm a creature of habit. Just gone 5 o'clock, and he phoned me up and he said, "Look, I'm really sorry to tell you, you've got skin cancer."
Wow.
And it rocked me. I didn't really ask any questions. So my wife was in the other room. She came in. She's from a very medical family, asked me all these questions, which I had no idea. Was it a surface thing? So I've had so many people contact me saying, "You're being a big wuss. I've had a little mark on my face and had it lasered off." But it turned out mine was proper malignant melanoma. I went in and had an op just before Christmas, had a chunk cut out off my feet for a month, and then it was quite deep, so I went back and had a really big chunk taken out. So when people tell me I'm a wuss, I send them this photo, and it'll make people faint because you just won't believe it. It went 2 centimeters deep into my foot. They cut out, and they took out a lymph node in my groin because cancer spreads up your lymphatic system. So that healed up, and then we found out that they found traces in my lymph nodes in my groin, which meant the cancer had spread. So I started this drug called immunotherapy. I don't know what you've been on, Al, but chemo and radiotherapy doesn't work on melanoma. So immunotherapy is a brand new drug, only about 4 years old, that essentially supercharges your immune system to fight cancer and stuff that shouldn't be there. But I was still getting the occasional little mark on my foot that I was having taken out. So they stopped the immunotherapy because they said, look, it's clearly not working. But then I got ill on holiday and found out it gave me type 1 diabetes. So I've now got these blimmin' pens and injecting myself with insulin. So I'm having scans every 6 weeks, feeling fine. We had a bit of a body blow last week. I went back and had a PET scan where they inject you with this radioactive stuff, and you lay still for an hour, and then they put you through a tube, and they found some more traces of cancer in my in the lymph nodes in my groin pelvis area. So being referred to the Royal Marsden. So my wife got very emotional. I see it as, another part of the story, another few chapters in a book. I'm feeling very positive. The new drugs are coming out all the time. It's really tiny. So that's where we are at this moment. So it's probably not the best news in the world, but it's not the worst news either.
Yeah, and you're similar, Alan, in a similar place. We chatted.
That's a conversation killer, isn't it?
No, it's good. This is what we're
stuff.
doing we do at Finnegan's, mate, and this is what we found, isn't it? When we're in the pub and you're just with your mates, and you can say, "Look,
I go to
it's
the
not
pub
all
every
roses,
Monday
is
with
it?"
my mates, and you can guarantee they'll ask me about my eyes. Even almost every week they'll say to me, "How are your eyes getting on? When have you got to go for another injection?" All that type of stuff.
You know what? It's amazing. I've shared my story a little bit, as Al will have noticed, on Facebook, and I've had 2 or 3 people go and get stuff checked out. One did have cancer, and she caught it so fast. She's absolutely fine now, and I think something good's come out of this. I had a curry with my mate Steve, who's a magician, absolute atheist. He burst into tears as soon as I told him. He got so emotional in this curry house, and he went home and he texted me saying, "Great seeing you. If anything good has come out of tonight, I've started praying."
Wow.
And I thought, wow. I'm a glass half full person. I think, good has got to come out of any situation, and good is going to come out of this.
Amazing.
And I figure, if worst comes to worst, if I die, I'm going to heaven.
Wow.
If I beat this, I've won, because I've beaten it. So either way, for me, I think it's a win-win. And I don't want to go anywhere. I want to be around for years. I want to see my girls grow up. I want to walk them down the aisle. But who knows? Life is precious.
Yeah.
I am going to die, but it's not going to be today. In the words of Hop from Stranger Things. I saw that on season 4 last week. I thought, I like that. Yeah. I'm going to die, but not today.
Yeah. Very good. It's also in Gladiator, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it? What did he say?
Not today. He says something about, he says we're going to be the afterlife, but not today. It is a, it's a, I don't know the exact quote, but it's in Gladiator me, Alan.
Is that not word for word?
I was going to ask you what difference your faith has made in that, but you've almost articulated that as well, unless you want to add something else.
You know, I think I've won.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I believe God can heal me. Yeah. And he can heal me through doctors and medical science. And literally last week when we got home from seeing the oncologist, you know, I heard about a new AstraZeneca drug that is fighting melanoma.
Yeah.
Melanoma's horrible. You know,
mine's melanoma in my eye.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Well, as you
it's like skin cancer in the eye.
Very scientific, don't you?
Yeah. It's skin cancer in your eye. It's like basically a freckle, how do you call it? Freckles. Yeah, one of them. But they can change, so mine's similar. Mine's
crazy, isn't it?
Pretty good at the moment, you know, as good as I can.
So you on
immunotherapy?
Expect.
No. I got this like mad disc put in my eye, which was like radioactive, and I still see bright lights in my eye when I'm trying to go to sleep. It's weird. And a year later, and they sew that into your eye for a few days, and then they take it out. I know it's horrible, like, but the last checkup I had, the doctors was like the cancers. The tumours shrunk really, really small. In fact, we can't see it with the naked eye anymore. And I went, I'm guessing that's good. Because I'm like you, I forget to ask things. I come home, my wife's like, what's this, what's that? She's a medical secretary, you know, so she's a nuisance.
Oh, man, she knows everything.
Yeah, so, and I can't remember even if they tell me. So what's the point? So, and I said, and then the one in the other eye hasn't changed at all, so they're happy with that, to just leave it. So I get injections in my eye every 4 weeks to try and save the sight in it, in my left eye. And the right eye, they're just monitoring it happens every 4 weeks now because I go for an injection. But I've got a gene which means it could spread to other parts of my body, mostly my liver probably. So I go every 6 months for a scan there. And I went a couple of weeks ago and it was sound. So happy days.
Brilliant.
Thank God.
It was all good, you know, for now.
Yeah, I'm in there every 3 months, you know. I'm fine apart from that, you know, and you hear so many people who suddenly die and they probably had cancer all their life and they didn't realise. I had nothing wrong with me. I didn't feel ill, which is the thing. Often when people get ill, it's too late.
Yeah.
So I figure we've caught it really fast. You know, on the last PET scan, there was nothing. You know, these cells have grown in the last 6 weeks. I have a PET scan every 6 weeks, so they're so tiny.
Yeah.
At the moment.
It's incredible what they can do.
Incredibly positive.
Yeah.
Steve, you've done decades of comedy, traveling the world with that. You've done Sorted magazine. You know, millions of people have read that and sort of been impacted by that. You're walking this journey of faith and life, and through cancer, which again is something that people. Many people face an evil disease. Many people face. I mean, what would you say to, people who are watching this who aren't Christians? Is there something you'd encourage them with, or something, to help point them towards, this good news that you started at the beginning by talking about?
I would just say try it.
Yeah.
You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. God really is just a prayer away, as I did as a 12, 13-year-old on my knees, say sorry for the wrong things in your life. Believe that this man, Jesus, we're thinking about him Christmas time, this little baby born in a little shed next door to a pub in the middle of nowhere, grew up to be a man who turned the whole world upside down. Believe, he loves you and he died for you, and ask him to take over. It really is as simple as that. And it's brilliant. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Yeah, it's great. And that's what I've seen.
Simple stuff, boys.
Yeah.
So good,
absolutely
though.
Simple.
And that's what my parents came to faith in their late teens, and that was basically, I had a front row seat to seeing them giving it a go, and that was the thing that kind of like made me think, oh, there is a God. It's just what I do about it. Because, you know, I saw people who were just like, I love what you're saying, Steve, that stepping out in faith. And, you know,
his dad's very similar.
Just give it a go. Story. Yeah, giving it a go.
Just decided to become a tent evangelist and, you know, buy a tent for $5,000.
Big circus more. Tent and all that. And, so I
and then travel around with it. Sell his house because the church needed some money, you know, that type of stuff.
And so you're looking at that kind of stuff and going, well, this is either mental or God is real. And I've found again and again that God is real. And
it's normally the cultural stuff that the church or churches can put around it that put particularly blokes off, I find. It's that kind of...
I don't want to be a monk.
No, it's that extra sort of gospel-y stuff that they add on.
That's not... That actually is not Christianity, is it? It's like the bit you've built onto it.
It's our own culture that we've built.
It's religion, isn't it? It's these rules and regulations. You wear a suit on a Sunday and you wear sandals with socks and you sing Kumbaya and all of the dance. It's nonsense. It's religious, crazy trappings.
Yeah.
Jesus wasn't religious. He was amazing. You know, some of his best friends were prostitutes. I mean, that was controversial. It would be now.
Anyway, fantastic.
We're coming to the end.
We're coming, Steve. We so appreciate you.
I could talk to you all day.
We could talk to you all day, Steve. But
you probably got. Come on, let's hang out a bit more.
Probably got Jose Mourinho ready to come on next.
He's on what too? We've got plenty of time.
But it's been. Thank you so much. Even just sharing some of your walk with cancer and stuff, mate. It's incredibly generous of you to share some of your story, and we do appreciate it. We're going to get another story from you now, though, Steve, aren't we, Al? Because you've got a chance today, my friend, to get yourself on Finnegan's.
With your life, this is the next step.
This is the next step.
This is the next level of faith.
Yeah. This is what I've been aiming at.
This is all
Denzel,
your life has
Bear
led
Grylls,
to this.
Chris Hemsworth, then the wall at Finnegan's. Martin Sheen.
Yeah.
So basically how it works, Steve.
Yeah.
You about to explain this?
No, go on.
Okay, basically how it works is that you tell a story, a funny story, and we have a little think afterwards. Yeah. You know, we reflect on it quite seriously.
We're the committee.
We're the committee, members committee. And basically, if the story is wall-worthy, then basically...
Get them on the wall, lad.
You get on the wall, lad. That's what happens. And we put your name up on the wall whenever you're in the Northwest.
We'll put you with Gav Calver.
We'll put you next to Gav Calver.
What was his story?
His story was
about him blocking the toilet at someone else's house.
It was, yeah.
He's only got one story.
He got one story, that's it.
That is brilliant.
He does tell it well, You've called him out well there.
I love that. Do you know
Gav, we want a different story next time, lads.
Yes, that's been told.
Your membership is up for review.
But if it doesn't go well, Steve, then sadly...
You're bad,
you
lad.
Get barred, and
flipping it. Well,
and we can't have you bad, to be honest.
No.
You're already favoured.
Yeah.
So
thank you, boys.
You can only ruin this.
I don't know how funny it is, but it's a true story, and it involves Salted, and it involves Christmas and one of my mates. So it kind of has got something for everyone in there.
Great.
And it's a big name drop as well. So I don't know if you've got a clanging sound effect there, but we've been talking about famous people. So I'll crack on, shall I?
Yes. Go for it, mate. Thank you.
So one of my good friends is Nigel Benn, the boxer.
Nice.
The Dark Destroyer. And Nigel came to faith a number of years ago, and I was going to help him write his autobiography, as I ghostwrite a few of those for
as
people.
As you do, yeah.
Well, as you do.
With me O-level English.
Sure, I'll write a book for you.
Yeah, it's just writing, isn't it?
Yeah,
you just talk
words.
and you write. That's how you do it. That's writing, isn't it? It's not rocket science. So anyway, Nigel was coming over, and we tour around a little bit, and I host a show, have some fun at the beginning, interview him. We talk about him coming to faith, etc., etc. Picked him up from Gatwick once. Brought him back to my place in Little Hampton. He said, "What's wrong with your hands?" So blisters all over my hands because we just moved into a new house and it was a new build, and been digging a pond, and it was really hard, the ground in the back garden. And he said, "Look, I've not had a workout today. I'll dig it for you." And we had a couple of builders, not Max and Paddy and Mick, a couple of builders working in our back garden, and they keep nudging. They kept nudging each other, saying, "That's Nigel Benn, isn't it? Digging a pond in the back garden." And he was just digging and having a joke with them. And they went off and told their foreman at lunchtime that they'd been digging in the garden, and Nigel Benn was digging a pond. And he said, and I heard him shouting, "What the F do you think effing Nigel effing Ben's going to be digging an effing pond in effing Littlehampton in the middle of the afternoon?"
I mean, I'm thinking the same.
And I just thought, what a great story, and how that fits in with the Christmas story. Why would the Son of God be born in this little hellhole?
Yeah.
You know, of all places. Why wasn't he born in a hospital? Why didn't he have Sky TV pay-per-view there? Why were the first visitors, the first witnesses, shepherds, the first century nobodies? And I just thought, what a lovely Christmassy story. That was Nigel Benn digging a pond.
Wow.
So good.
I mean, who gets Nigel Benn?
Not funny, but poignant, boy.
I love it. That's
I mean,
crazy.
Jose Mourinho sends you 50 quid. Bear Grylls is your mate. And now you got Nigel Benn digging your pond.
Do you know what?
I bow. I bow in awe.
Yeah, Steve, we had. I'm doing some building work at my place the other day, and I had Alan Finnegan from Britain's Got Talent driving the digger.
Wow.
Do you know what? No one stopped.
No one stopped and said, "Hey,
Steve, you're going straight on the wall, mate.
Definitely
Very good.
Get him on the wall, lad."
I think just having you at Finnegan's would be amazing, because who knows who you turn up with?
Hello.
Who knows who you might
Bring
bring
anyone.
along?
Martin Sheen next.
Yeah.
You're going there with Gav.
Very good. Steve, it's been a
Absolute
pleasure.
Brilliant.
Thank you
so much.
so
We'll
much.
have to have you back on, I think.
We will do. Steve, if you're ever in the Northwest.
Yes, next time you're in the Northwest, try and make it a Wednesday night.
Yeah. Very specific.
So much fun in West Kirby. I think I'll be back there. What a great URC church. The vicar there, Louise. Do you know Louise Franklin?
No.
Oh.
She's a budding stand-up. You should get her on the show.
Hey.
She's lovely. You'll love her.
Maybe we'll have Louise down one night for Finnegan's then.
Yeah. She does a comedy night every Christmas.
Does she?
She's never invited Alan.
No, I've done it.
Oh, do you know what happened? She probably invited him.
I think you have been there, because we were talking about you, Al.
I think I might have done a gig over that way.
I think you probably did.
One Christmas.
Beautiful. Lovely church on the corner.
Very good.
I can't remember.
That's amazing that you booked the gig and then actually turned up for it.
I've just cancelled a couple of gigs, you see, Steve. They were miles away, they were down
but
by.
You knew where they were when you booked them.
One of them was in, you're going to know this church. You've defo been there. Where was that? Frinton-on-Sea.
Love it.
With Mark Macy, is it Mark Macy?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know that.
Frinton-on-Sea, brilliant. Well, you should have suggested me. I've been down there a few times.
I was going to go, and then, I'm not funny anymore, Steve. So I decided I couldn't go. I couldn't drive 7 hours and bomb. And then 8 hours home. That's what it took me last time I went there. It was 15 hours round trip. And I just thought, I can't do it. I just can't do it. I'll end up suicidal. I did one gig, Steve, and at the end of the gig, it hadn't gone well, and I was coming home, and I had to put diesel in my car, which is always a pain, isn't it? Because you're thinking, I'm not even getting hardly any money for this, and it's costing me more to get here and back, right? And as I'm putting it in, I'm reading the top of the petrol pump, because they have little adverts on them, and it had feeling down. Call the Samaritans.
Oh my God.
I thought, dear me. Never mind. Anyway.
Well, there we go. It's time.
Yeah. It's time. We're going to call time on this. We ring our bell so we can sync the audio with the...
No, it's not technical.
No, it's Steve Legg, everybody. It's been fabulous, and I'd love to have him back on, I think.
I would love to have him
But
back.
for now, we're going to call time on it. So time, everybody.
Thanks for joining us. Thank you, Steve. And see you again soon, mate. God bless you.
God bless.